afternoon. My name's Kenneth Hackamak.
My name's Tanner Martin.
We're with One Mission Outdoors and Backcountry Basics. Today we got a video of how to set up properly and employ footholds, water sets for your trapping season. Why are we going to do this? We were tagged for Fort Leonard Wood Outdoor Adventure Center for a trapping seminar. So what better way to get out in the environment, get out in the brush, in the creek, in the water systems, and watch us do it. It is early. It is August time frame. You can see from the backdrop and the environment, everything's green. We will in place the traps. However, we will not leave them. We will not set them to properly catch, fur, and target the game animal.
As you can see, there's a plethora of different types of traps that you can utilize, and we'll go over each one and how to properly set them up and some of the safety considerations and what to look for out here in the environment, so you're not just putting your traps at any place. We want to have a successful trap run, and so we're going to go over some things that you can look out for when you're out and about setting traps.
So one thing we like to, before we get on the road and head south behind us up the stream here, poops, paths, and habitats. All right, so what does that mean? All right, each species of game has a different type of poop, pellets, or environment they live in, right? So how do you successfully target a game species? Well, you can't just buy a beaver trap or a coon trap and go set up for a marten or an otter, right? You have to be smart and selective with your money, financial, in selecting what type of fur you want to pursue.
All right, so we'll start off with our equipment list. All the way over here to the left, we're gonna have our pliers. And the reason why we have our pliers is because we're gonna have wire. The wire is gonna stabilize the trap, and it's also going to stabilize our identification dog tag that we have on our traps that is necessary to have on each one of these traps. We also have a tool belt with a wire spoil, some tape for marking, and a holder for our mallet. Our mallet is going to be used for mostly our guide sticks when we set up the beaver traps, and I'll show that later on in the video. Lastly, every good trapper is going to need an axe. This is for cleaning the area and also, again, making some of those guide sticks that we need. In the beginning, we're going to start off with our dog-proof traps, and it's exactly what it says in the name. We don't want any unnecessary animals to get caught in here that we're not targeting. We're targeting specifically raccoons when it comes to these traps, and that's what we want to get trapped in here. So we use dog-proof traps.
Moving from left to right, this is a number 2 Duke coil spring trap. Its bigger brother is the number 3 Duke coil spring trap, and you can see the jaws are widening. All right, now we have the foothold trap, the number 5 Brigadier. All right, the left spring is still tight and hold. The right one, we just took it off because it broke, it got weak. All right, never put a trap in the water that's weak, because you don't want to injure the animal. You want to secure and trap and hold. Over here, these are the foothold traps. Moving on to the Conibears or body grip traps. All right, it's a 220. All right, I don't have a 110 out here because I don't run them. I don't target smaller species like that. So your 220, and then its bigger brother is the 330 Conibear. Now that's the foothold traps, the Conibears, body grips, and then you have your snares. It's just your cable restraints, nothing crazy on a slide, and that is our equipment list.
Before you get into trapping, it's important to know your locations, the proper seasons, and the regulations in your local area. Again, I'm with Kenneth, I'm Tanner, we're with Backcountry Basics, representing One Mission Outdoors, making a mission, turning curiosity into capability.
finally made it back here to the beaver's habitat. Right off the rip, we identify a path, a run. All right, with that poos, paths, and habitats, we are definitely in a beaver habitat. It's got significant amount of water, but why and how? So there's a run going this way. There's a slide. So he's going up there chewing on the willows, and you can identify some of the old cuttings right there. Over here is an old washed out beaver hutch. And once Tanner comes across the slide, and be careful, it's pretty slick. But obviously the water will flush out the beaver hutches, but there's an old run right in here. Now, a beaver will have multiple ways in and out of his beaver hutch. So just from this side, you can see the entrance from here, over there, and then from the main creek system going up into it. So beavers have multiple hutches. They got a feed hutch, and they live in small family groups. They are very clean. Once the sow raises her pups or her kits, the mom will kick them out, and then she'll kind of restart that family again. But you can see they're little worker bees, man. So let's identify, using this old hutch, hypothetically saying, right, how to set up a trap here and there in the run. We've walked around, and during the trap line, during the trap season, you have to set traps out. You'll take too much up time to trying to establish the right trap for the right area, you know, and think about it too much how to, right? So I'm gonna break it down to the bare essentials. Here's a trap. Here's a good beaver stick. It is August. You're not gonna find any solid beaver sticks. All right, these are all old, but for the instructional purpose of this video, you'll understand the gist of it. But like I said, going back to the trapping season, if you see 3 of the majors, right, poos, paths, habitats, and you identify a beaver path, beaver tracks, beaver habitat, go ahead and secure a beaver trap, right? Don't think about it too much, all right? So his belly's gonna reach about right there, all right? Beavers are smart. They're using their nose a lot. And when they're paddling, right, they're up on the surface, they're just nose width. So, all right, we got our hip boots on. We got our guide stick for water depth, right? So, and it's flat right here, where he's just kind of cruising his belly, right? So, this is where I want to pinch him, choke point, right? Make sure there's nothing, no rocks that's gonna stop that Conibear from not going off, right? So, simple, right? Try not to disturb the area too much. We gathered some dry beaver sticks during the season. They'll be like this. So yeah, what do we need? We need the Conibear. I like to always get the trap set. Get the trap set in the water, proper depth. So let's go over the Conibear. This is your dog, your guys right here. This is a spring and your safeties. Make sure before you squeeze this tight and we set this trap that we slide it down and your springs are tight. Keep everything out of the way, never put your hand within the trap. Once you squeeze this, you squeeze it, you have it. There is no letting go, there is no hold on. Make sure it's in there, right? Put my hand in the trap? Yes. Do we want to do that? No. You see that? That is a live trap. It does have the 100% of the safeties on it. If I pop these safeties off, you're gonna have the full power of the trap. You keep them on, it's about 50% of the bite. So for this particular setup, I want to run that beaver stick in between both these springs. So I'm gonna place them up. Hey, per location, you have state and federal regulations saying that your trap does have to be identified per trapper. For the Missouri Department of Conservation, your name, conservation number. Look it up. So, this is about the easiest way to secure. Hopefully that stick ain't too big. Nope. So keep in mindful of where your hand placement is. So, see how that safety just came down? That's fine, as long as you know what's going on, right? So I want that safety to be here till I'm done placing and pulling that trap. So we get the jaws or the springs tight. Now the water depth. Now you can submerge the whole trap. Now I'm on the right side in the bottom. I got about 4 inches, right? His head's on the surface of the water. He's gonna come up. So it's center of the path, center of the runway, right? So they have rings right here. So you can set the trap, then stake down the trap, or stake down the trap, then set the trap. But what I find easier is to set the trap, because then it becomes hard to get that distance. So you can simply just run this through here. And drive it all the way down to the bottom. And it don't take much to hold a beaver. This is a body grip trap and a kill trap. So the trap's still moving. All right, you don't want any bumps, anything crazy like that. Will you hand me a few more guide sticks? All right, so we got our trap secured with the stake. All right, now once we gathered our guide stick and secured our stake, so you want the trap from moving. So you have to be creative out here in the habitat. All right, nothing's right, nothing's wrong, but if it works, it works. So using pressure against your main stick here. All right, like I said, the basics, guys. The trap isn't moving with only 3 sticks, right? Took us 5 minutes to identify, where, why, and how. Simple setup for the simple backcountry trapper. Now let's get into the finish of it. Beavers are smart. Any open areas right here, left or right, like I said, you want to funnel them in, or guide them in. Nothing too crazy, but block off these holes. And yes, they could go up to the bank and around, but for the purpose of the videos and how to employ a 330 Conibear and target the beaver, this is how we're gonna do it. All right, now I've done this a million times. I would say the trap is secure. I like the setup. I like the guides. I like the path. I like the location of the trap. And you check all those things before you move to the next location. The last thing we need to do as a trapper to ensure the targeted catch is the safety and have that trap be the most effective. So, keeping your hands away from everything. Now you want to flip them down and away, because when that trap goes off, you don't want the safeties going back on or catching. I guess it is August, so I should have put the gauntlets on. All right, so down and away. The trap is set. Thank you for watching One Mission Outdoors, Backcountry Basics, how to set a 330 Conibear and target the beaver. All right, so I don't like doing this, but since this is a how-to instructional video, the what if, right? Or how, or everybody wants to see how powerful that trap is and why is it a kill trap? Because nobody really sees it or understands it until they see it. So I'm gonna do this just for the people at home, right? I'm 5 feet away from my trap. It is secured. All I'm gonna do is push this stick towards the springs there. So I'm a beaver. I'm swimming, I'm swimming, I'm swimming. And you can see the next morning when you come get your traps, of why it's important first, of why you secure that trap from moving. And that would be your beaver's head in the trap. Hey, part of the packing list, the equipment list, I did forget to mention the beaver setters. It's just flat iron steel with notches cut out. That way we can easily squeeze and set the safeties on the springs, because it is a powerful trap. It is a lot of pound per pressure. So this tool right here is a must. So they don't squeeze that way. They squeeze in. And make sure your safety is on the outside. Like I said, once you grab something with iron or a trap, once you grab it, you have it, you hold it. All right, it can pop, it can pinch, it can really danger you. So we hold it with our pressure, we feel safe right there. I got positive grip, right? All I'm going to do, put that safety on there and release the pressure, still keeping tension on just in case, and now that safety is set. Same thing on the other side. Sometimes it's easier to flip that trap over because the beaver's head in there and the tension of the trap is restricting. So getting ready to set, it'd be that way. They don't squeeze in. Now I feel comfortable with getting my hands around the jaws of the trap again, keeping my safeties tight, freeing that trap up, and getting my beaver stick, aka targeted animal, out of the trap safely.